How's it going, everybody? This is the Nitty Gritty. My name is Chad. With me, as usual, is Leonard. This is a show about pro wrestling, and this week I will be giving you some of my favorite matches of 2022. Leonard will chime in here and there, but I don't know if there's any matches that stick out for him. We'll find out. But I know you do have something you want to plug, so go ahead.
Yeah, so just recently, as of the time of this recording, I'm not sure what the schedules for both are, so I'm not sure if it will be up yet by the time this is. But upcoming, I will be a guest on the Diecast movie podcast hosted by Steve Turk. Steve is a longtime attendee of the Monster Bash, as I know Steve. And Steve asked me if I would be a guest on his program. So what he does is he has dice with genre on them, and he rolls them. And whatever genre comes up, you can either pick one or the other, or you can do a movie that covers both. And so I got action fantasy and chose Crawl from 1983.
Oh, wow.
So the first part is just a bit of an intro on Steve introducing who I am and me talking about some of the things I've got going on, including the Nitty Gritty podcast gets plugged on that. And then we talk about Crawl for a while, and he's already invited me back. And the next show is probably going to be sometime in June before we do Monster Bash, so that we can plug Monster Bash. But appropriately, he rolled for me this time, but on camera, and it was horror comedy.
Oh, that should be. There's endless possibilities there.
Endless possibilities. I'm leaning to the Ghost of Mr. Chicken, which is a personal favorite. But when we got off the air, Steve and I rattled off a good dozen off the top of our heads that we could do. So.
Why am I not surprised that you chose Don Knotts?
Yes, it's a favorite. There's a lot I can talk about with it, but anything. So that's not set in stone. You never know. But when I do the next edition, I'll let you all know. But that's can be downloaded anywhere that you find podcasts, just like ours. It's the Diecast movie podcast with Steve Turek. Turek.
Attaboy, Leonard.
Attaboy.
So. All right. So, like I said, we're going to do some of my favorite matches of 2022, and I will say right off the bat that these are not ranked. And there's kind of a reason for that, because I don't necessarily want to say I cheated on this list, but a lot of the same people show up, and it's kind of divided into groups. There were a lot of great rivalries in 2022, and so that's what I'm going to be highlighting as we go along here. So get to some of my honorable mentions at the end, but let's start out with the Seth Rollins Cody Rhodes trilogy of matches, which started at WrestleMania 38 night 1, April 2nd, 2022. This started it. It was not necessarily a surprise that Cody was there, but nobody was totally 100% sure until his music hit. But he came out, and it was a great match. And they repeated that formula at WrestleMania Backlash. I liked it better when it was just Backlash, but I digress. That was May 8th, 2022. I think this is the lesser-known match that they had because it's kind of right there in the middle. But again, it was really, really good. And their trilogy concluded June 5th, 2022 at WWE Hell in a Cell, and it was a Hell in a Cell match. Most people remember it because of Cody taking off his jacket and, revealing the remnants of the torn pec issue that he had. And as I say that, tonight as we record, Raw is going on, and he has officially announced that he is coming back at the Royal Rumble. So it's been, quite the road to recovery, but it'll be good to see him back. These two had good chemistry. I think Seth Rollins did everything he could to make Cody look like $1 million. Not that Cody needed necessarily somebody to carry him, but I think that Seth Rollins certainly did him a favor in taking the job 3 times in a row, and I can guarantee he'll get that back at some point when it might mean a little bit more. We'll see. But I thought that this was a great rivalry. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that they might have a showdown at the Rumble, which we'll be looking forward to. Leonard, I know you saw at least one of those matches, right?
Yes, well, regular listeners probably know that I am not watching much of the current product unless Chad makes me. And I did watch WrestleMania, and I did watch the match, the third match with the Bruce Peck. I did not watch the middle match. I like both matches. I believe that Cody Seth was, I think, my top match of the 2 nights of WrestleMania. I'd have to go back and check. Right. But I agree with you. I think they had good chemistry with each other. I think they told a good story throughout the trilogy. Is it Flair Steamboat? No, but I think it is 2 guys that certainly know how to work with each other and like to work with each other and understand, hey, we can do something special here. So I did enjoy the 2 matches of the trilogy I saw. And, of course, you have to give Cody nothing but props for toughing it out on a torn pec. I know after the fact, a lot of people called him stupid for doing that. Why risk further injury? I guess I think I'm still from the old school of where you rub some dirt in it and you walk it off. Well,
so, like you talk about what it was in the old days. Like, it's not like that anymore. They wouldn't have let him out there if they thought that he was going to genuinely do more damage to his person.
I believe from what I read and heard that it was as torn as it could be. He wasn't going to tear it more. He wasn't going to injure another body part. It was what it was.
Exactly right. But yeah, so this is kind of the formula for my list. There's certainly some singles matches on here, but there's a lot of 3-parters. So let's next highlight New Japan Pro Wrestling, the rivalry that I had on my list, and these guys would certainly be near the top. Would be Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay. They wrestled at Wrestle Kingdom 16, Night 2, January 5th, 2022. This is a near 5-star match. Will Ospreay probably is the man of 2022. I could rattle off a list of matches, not just in New Japan, but he was all over the independents. He was on AEW from time to time. This guy just didn't have many bad matches. But their Wrestle Kingdom 16 match is probably the best one. They also wrestled August 18th, 2022 at G1 Climax Day 20. Again, easy 4.5 to 5-star match there. Okada has not lost an inch of his abilities over the years. He's still so great to watch. So definitely check those out on NJPW World if you get a chance. Also, New Japan, we have Shingo Takagi versus Tomohiro Ishii. People who are only familiar with AEW or WWE might remember Ishii. He did make some appearances. And, basically any match that Shingo Takagi and Tomohiro Ishii are in, it's going to be a slap fest. And, these guys slap the hell out of each other to the point where their chests bleed. And, it's basically they're trying – in Japan, one of the things they like to do is they try to illustrate, I can take more than you can take type thing. So that's kind of why you see a lot of those exchanges. But that was a really good match. It was at the New Japan Cup. Ishii appears again here against Eddie Kingston from AEW, but this was New Japan Pro Wrestling Capital Collision. It was a U.S. show that the promotion did. And again, a really tough fought match that is really well worth checking out if you get a chance. In terms of the women, the main female match that I had on my list was Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch from WrestleMania 38 Night 1. I guess I could probably put the SummerSlam match on there as well. These two really worked well together. And
and of course I saw the WrestleMania match because we watched WrestleMania, and I believe that was my number 2 match of Night 1 behind Cody and Seth. Just a good solid match. Again, it's been close to a year since I watched this. I don't remember specifics, but again, I do remember liking it a lot and thought it showed not only what they could do individually, but I think what that women's division or what any women's division can be if you put some time and effort and thought behind it.
Absolutely. Another WWE match at WWE's Clash at the Castle, from September 3rd, 2022 was Gunther versus Sheamus. I think I gave this match 4 stars when I reviewed it for our show. I would certainly maybe like increase that a little bit. This is definitely one of the best matches WWE had in 2022. Gunther is a really great talent, and I really hope they continue to push him to the moon. I think right now, looking at the Rumble coming up, there's a lot of names that people will throw around as people who should win. Currently, Gunther's the Intercontinental Champion, so he probably won't win, but his time is coming for sure.
I could see him getting the Kane push, where he eliminates the most people or just dominates through a middle portion of it, and that's sort of as Jim Ross likes to say, seeing if that dog will hunt. Yeah. Putting him in there, and then if that goes well, who knows what next year might bring. But that's what I would predict, him looking good but not winning.
Yeah, no, I agree. I can see him getting that spot for sure. The next series of matches would probably be a tie for one, and that would be the rivalry between FTR and the Briscoe brothers. These two teams fought each other 3 times, and these were matches that I had to see because the chemistry that these two teams had was just off the charts. Obviously, the Briscoes, one of them made some comments that is kind of preventing them from getting on cable, AEW specifically. So unfortunately, they have to kind of wrestle on the Ring of Honor shows. But the first one was Supercard of Honor 15. That started the rivalry. That's a 4.5 to 5-star match. The next match was at Death Before Dishonor. It was 2 out of 3 falls. That was from July 23rd, 2022. Again, excellent 2 out of 3 fall matches I like a lot. And the last one, which was the title change, was from December 10th, 2022 at ROH Final Battle, a double dog collar match, which was bloody and brutal and really capped off that rivalry well. FTR is currently taking a break until their AEW contract expires. Who knows what's going to happen with them? But they certainly made their mark, FTR, in 2022. They made a lot of teams look great. They had great matches themselves. If we're going MVP for tag teams, I don't know anybody who could say it could be anybody else other than FTR. Those matches are not easy to find. You're going to have to buy the pay-per-view unless you have ways of watching it without paying. But I highly recommend checking them out if you can find them.
I'd be interested in seeing those matches, and it might surprise you, Chad, to know that you have something in common with Jim Cornette. I don't know what he said about those matches individually, but he's a huge fan of the Briscoes and FTR. He thinks they're...
I think I knew he was a fan of FTR. I don't know if I ever heard him talk about the Briscoes, but,
Yes, he does like the Briscoes as well.
All right, so let's get into some of my honorable mentions. I'm just going to give a shout-out to, Lucha Libre here very quickly. If there was an MVP south of the border, it would have to be El Hijo del Vikingo, which means the Viking's son in Spanish. He had matches with a lot of different people, and those matches most of them are available on YouTube. He had one match against Lamita from AAA Show Center, March 12th. Great, easy 4-star match. He had a match against Laredo Kid from October 23rd at Final Show Center, which is also really good. I mean, if you like, flips and showcases like that, if you like the Lucha Libre style, this is the guy you want to watch. He doesn't have a mask, but he comes out in a Viking outfit. The gimmick, I don't know what they're thinking with their gimmick, Leonard, but the guy does, he's a magician in the ring, and sometimes it's 4-sided ring, sometimes it's 6-sided ring down there. So, but yeah, he comes out with horns, and I don't get it. Gimmick.
When you say he's a magician in the ring, is he Fantasio?
No, not literally a magician.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
But he doesn't have a mask, which is interesting. A lot of people have masks, but yeah. And so, just a side note, Leonard, if you've ever watched any matches from Mexico or any Spanish commentary, the Spanish commentary down there is as over the top as their soap operas are. Like,
Nice.
like it is so like just loud, and just everything that these guys do is incredible, and just it's entertaining in and of itself. And another match that he had was against Ray Phoenix from Triple Mania 30, Mexico City, October 15th, 2022. Again, that was probably the best one of the matches that I watched. But yeah, he's really well worth checking out. CM Punk, we don't know what's going to happen with CM Punk in 2023, but he had a great dog collar match with MJF at AEW Revolution that is worth checking out. Leonard, whether you like AEW or not, I would think that that's more your speed for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I like Punk, I like MJF. There's a handful of people who I do like that they have. That's just the overall booking and vibe I don't. But again, I haven't checked out for a very long time. So.
And I'll just kind of cap it off there. I have a list here of many more matches that were really good. One of my goals, and I forgot to mention this at the top, but one of my goals for 2022 was to expand what companies, promotions that I watch, try to watch more of stuff outside of WWE, not necessarily just Japan, but as I mentioned, the Lucha Libre stuff. Will Ospreay, I followed a lot of the matches that he and John Moxley had on the independents. Those guys had a ton of great stuff. And I think I kept to that pretty well. Anyway, I definitely watched more pro wrestling in 2022 than I had in previous years. So yeah, there's a lot of great matches with Adam Cole and Adam Page, Jurassic Express. John Moxley really didn't make my top of my list, but he had some good matches here and there. So 2022 was a good year of wrestling. As we've mentioned on previous shows, I definitely think that wrestling is in the midst of a change in terms of, the style that's accepted and all that, as Leonard and I have discussed. But let us know what matches you watched in 2022 that you think I should have mentioned, or which ones you agree with. We always love to hear any feedback. We have other videos that you can check out, such as Segment Surgery, Stupid Questions, and Random Match Reviews. And we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and recently I did add us to Stitcher and Pandora, which I previously had not done. But we are wherever podcasts are now. We can officially just say that. So please make sure to check out our other content. For Leonard, my name is Chad, and we will see you next time.